Hi all. So I think I've decided to split this video into two. I could merge it onto the other one, but it looks like it's getting quite big. So I'll probably split the 17th into two parts. These are the cards in James's hand for the next impulse. So yeah, he's just finished impulse 3. And he's drawn card 38, 67 and 39. Just while things are fresh in my mind, I made a bit of an error regarding checking for roadblock here. Now, it wasn't this unit, but let's just say that this unit was here. And I think what the unit done was it moved to here, and I said it didn't need to take a roadblock check because that was there adjacent. Well, that's not the case. Then I next looked, because this is a move that James made, obviously, and then I wondered, is it in supply? Because I think we were at one point we checked to see a roadblock check didn't get carried out in this hex because there was couldn't get supply. Now supply is like 4 hexes to find a supply road. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think that's the only way you could go. So that hex wouldn't need to check for a roadblock because it's not in supply. Allied supply. So then I went back and looked, and I said you didn't need to check. When you move like that to there, I was thinking, because this is adjacent, you don't need to check, but you do, because it's making another move. Once you've checked a hex once in an activation, you don't need to do it again, but it hadn't been checked in this activation. And then I thought, is it in supply? Well, you can go 1, 2. Oh, it's not, is it? It's the same. 1, 2. Oh no, it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. God, I'm getting muddled up myself. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it can trace supply from there. So that hex should have been checked. That's something to remember. It's not one you really think about because you're adjacent to it already, and then you move and think, oh, I don't need. I mean, I even pointed out, and he actually said you don't need to check that, but that's wrong. So anyway, it was just to bring that to light. And one other thing, I noticed I've got carried away a little bit and occasionally not moved the camera, and I'm pointing over here and doing things over here and you can't see, so apologies for that. I'll try and keep the camera on the action in the future. So next, Allied Impulse. Like I said, they drew card 23 here, which is for 12 core. So the first command is deploy 4 and 10th Armour Division reserves from 12 core. And they are the units that are in the reserve box from 12 core. So it happens to be the right divisions. So how do we look? James points out that he says the only hex available to place reserves is here. It's quite a tricky wee one. I think I may have even missed that one myself. It's in a empty position hex in the core area. The core area for the 12th core is this line and south, so it's a small area. It's able to trace Allied supply. It can just come off from there. And this German unit is proximate. I actually think this is another candidate, unless I'm missing something. I'd say this is probably one of the trickiest parts, getting the reserves out. That is in a empty position hex. It's within the core boundary. Kind of goes up there, only just. And it can trace Allied supply by going 1 over the river and then down. This German unit is proximate. It can go 1, 2, 3 into there. So it's not in dangerous surround. How do we look at that? I don't think any German unit could control this hex. Probably not even this hex, to be honest. And it's not adjacent to an Allied unit. That's one of the stipulations. So I actually think that's a candidate as well. When it comes to tiebreakers, you look at within 3 of a unit in the same division. And we're trying to deploy number 1 first. They go up the way. That should be 1, then 5, then 7. So that's from the 10th Armour. There's no 10th Armour division units on the board. Then the next tiebreaker is within 3 hexes a unit in the same corps. Well, we've got a 4th infantry down here. So that's the only unit from the corps on the board, and it's within 3 of this hex. So, as James does, the 10th Armour gets put there. So, quite nasty, threatening the German unit there. He doesn't spot this hex or possibly find something that I've missed, and he just puts the other 2 units back in the reserve because there's no other hex that a German unit is proximate to. This one I thought might have been at first as well, but the roadblock's in the way, and if he goes 1, like for proximate 1, 2, he's then got to stop because he's on the road for the roadblock, so he wouldn't actually be proximate to that hex. And the rest are all further north, so there's nothing can get down within the core area. So I kind of think number 5 unit could have went there, but it's possible I'm missing something too. But anyway, he just deploys this unit, and that's Allied Impulse over. So he decides to play card 38. This is a good card. This is a nice one to do, and he wants to activate the Piper unit. That's going to only be done on the 17th, and there's an option to do on the 18th to activate the 150 unit. But he's obviously not going to get that chance because this is a supplemental card. He won't get the chance of that on the 18th. So anyway, he uses this card to activate the Piper unit, like I say. Only available on the 17th. But the great thing about this card is, okay, it's only activating 1 unit, the Piper unit, it's a strong unit, but it gets to ignore Allied zone controls on the 17th, which is really good. So his movement with him it says 706 to 705. I'm pretty sure it means 706 to 707. So that's what I'm going to go with. Because then the next hex is 607, which is up here. Again, like I say, you can ignore all the zone of controls. So now he should, as far as I'm aware, be doing a bridge demolition check there. Bridge demolition check as a 1 or a 2, the bridge would blow. So again, unless I'm missing something, it doesn't do the check anyway. So then he carries on into here and then into the Vonderheit hex. So, and with that, the Vonderheit gets removed from the map, and he gains a victory point for that. And then he's still got 1 movement point left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, still got 1 movement point left, and what he does is come back here again. Now, if he had done the bridge demo check, because it's the same activation, he wouldn't have to do another bridge demo check, coming back down again, but I think there should be a big demolition check there. So with his 1 victory point, puts him up to 5. I'm actually going to convert these. I think it's probably more sensible. 3, 6, 8. So there's 8 units eliminated, so another 4 points, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It does make sense then, you don't need to keep counting the eliminated units. So he's on 9 victory points now, which isn't bad. So the Piper, this card is actually 0 command points, so you've still got potential to spend its 4 command level. So his next card, he plays card 66 for the 80 core, and chooses to deploy all core reserves. So he's got this armour unit from 80 core. Now the hex he goes for is here. I don't think it's quite legal, but it has to be within the German army area, which is anything in the 7th Army here. So it's within that. In a road hex is a valid supply, yeah. At least 3 hexes away from any non-isolated Allied unit or Allied town or city. So unfortunately there's only 2 away from this guy. This is still an Allied controlled town as well as an Allied unit, it's not isolated. He's 3 away from this one, but not from that one, so possibly should be here, or here would be okay I think, but anyway, I'll just leave him where he places them. The other condition after that is within 3 hexes of a unit in the same division, if not in the same corps, if not in the same army. But he's got guys from his corps round about him, so that's okay. It's just the 3 hexes from the Allied unit seems to be an issue here. So he's played 2 command points now. The last card of the impulse for him, he plays card 68, which is a command value of 4, so this will end his impulse. And he plays this to activate 85 core. So yeah, like I say, activates 85 core. So first move is the armour, 11. Going 1709. Right. Not sure we've had a unit in that town, Clairvaux. Or maybe we did have and I forgot about it, but let's have it German controlled now. So that's 1. Bridge check, I don't think that'll be in supply, will it? No, it's not in supply, so no need for that. So there's 2, and it looks like the first time that something's crossed that bridge as well, so again, may have missed that before, but so that's 1, 2, then 3 into 1711, 4 into 1712, and 5 into 1612. And when he hits here, he's got a roadblock check at 1613 and a roadblock check at 1513. He rolls a 4 here and a 3 here, so quite close, but no roadblocks, fortunately. Next he moves the 13 5F unit, 1808. There's a hex number mix up here again, but I'm pretty sure it must be down to here because his intention is to end here for the 3rd point, the 3rd movement point. Then the 14th unit, 1, 2, 3. And the 15th goes 1708, 1709, 1710 for his third movement point. And 352 stays where he is, he's kind of locked in there. So that's his impulse over. He's got 3 cards left before the end of the day. And now over to the Allies. So next Allied impulse, he draws card number 6. So the first command is a special event, only happens on the 16th though. Second command is deploy all core reserves. And there is a couple of core reserves for 5 core. One from the 1st Division, one from the 9th Division. So let's see what happens with those guys. Okay, so as the first unit is part of the 1st Division, this is a 1st Division unit, so there might be a couple other options. I put 4 green cubes, but all these green cubes are within 3 of this unit, which is its division, so they're going to get the priority. Now, I think James possibly misses this one because obviously it's got to be proximate to a German unit. Piper can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 around to here. So this is a hold value of 4. So this is a 3. So, and James actually, he puts it in this one. That was a 2. Puts it in this one, but if you remember the tiebreakers, if they're both the same hold value, it would go to the westernmost. So I think it should have been that one, but we'll put it where he comes into there. So because he places them here, has a bit of a knock-on effect because there's nowhere to place this unit now. Kind of locks Piper up when this unit goes here, so there's not really another hex where that could be deployed with a German unit's proximate to. If he had put him here, I guess this guy would probably have came in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you know what? I think he would come into Verviers. There's been within 3 of this guy. There's no any 9th Division units on the board, so yeah, I think he probably would have came in there. Anyway, he's been placed there, so this other guy just goes back to the reserve units box, and that's Allied impulse over. And after just looking once more, I'm wrong. James is right. Piper has to leave this zone of control, so it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so he can't reach this hex. So yeah, it just shows you how you can get cut out in this game. So good one, James. Okay, German final impulse of December 17th. He's got 3 cards left. So his first card he plays is card 49 to activate the 58 core. He first moves this infantry 1, 2, 3. Moves the armor unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then moves the 116 Panzer unit up to Vilsam. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. and moves the other 2 units from 116 Panzer 1 to 13 on now, 3, 4, finishing in 12, 10. This is here. So he spent 2 command value points, still got 2 cards left. So this is going to be his last activation of the day, and I'm assuming he'll add the other card to finish the day off. Uses 5th Panzer Army card to activate 47 Corps. So, as he notes, he gets a bit unlucky here. So he says the roadblock at 1412 just disappears, so it must be out of supply. That's here. And indeed it is, yeah. It's surrounded. So that roadblock goes away. It's got a roadblock here adjacent to a 47 Corps guy, and a roadblock here as well. So the roadblock at Wiltz also disappears, he says. Right, I'm not sure of that one. So that can trace supply. Hang on a second. Sorry, I'm just not reading it properly. When you activate a unit, if there's a roadblock adjacent to it, you remove the roadblock anyway, and then check to see if a reserve unit comes up. So, the roadblock in Wiltz comes away, and then it has to roll dice. On a 1 to 3, a reserve unit will pop up. And unfortunately, this is where it gets a bit unlucky. He rolls a 3. Okay, so I had to go and look at a few things there. So this, actually you can still see that Wiltz. I've moved the camera a little bit, hang on. Yeah, the roadblock was in Wiltz. So I've removed that and obviously rolled a 3. And he comes to the conclusion that, well, this is a tricky one. This is one that you could easily get caught out with. When you're placing reserves, deploying Allied reserves, they do have to follow the boundaries of their corps where they come in. You do have to follow them. However, when you're deploying a roadblock reserve unit, this doesn't count. So James didn't notice this one, but there's also another thing. He says that the only roadblock reserve, it's got to come from the army closest to the unit, closest to the Allied units here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is in the 3rd Army. Yeah. 3rd Army, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's in the 3rd Army too. So it's got to be somebody from the 3rd Army. And up here in the reserves, this is in the 1st Army. These are the 2 that he notes are in the reserve units box, and for some reason this guy's gone astray. he either doesn't notice them, or there's a possibility he's maybe placed them already and I've not recorded that. I had a wee look though, and I can't see, when he lists where all the units are, there's no mention of CCR 9th Armour unit, so I think he's still in the reserve units box. So he'd be the perfect candidate to just come into Wiltz, because he's also in the same division as this guy, not let alone corps, he's in the same division. So if he is there, he should pop up in Wiltz. Now, he only mentions the fact that these 2 are from the 3rd Army, out of the 4th Division of 12 Corps. And he notes correctly that this is their boundary line, south of this line. So Wiltz is north of that line. So, and it's caught out with that, with the whole, when you're normally deploying them, you wouldn't be able to deploy them into wilts, but because there was a roadblock reserve check, that rule's ignored, and you just need to place them as long as they come from that army. So if there are only these 2 units in there, and this guy isn't there, then I think this number 5 unit would have come into wilts. But he doesn't see that one. It is a tricky one, and so we'll just leave it as it is. And we'll maybe find out if this guy's here later on. So a similar thing happens up here, unfortunately. And was it 1214? Yeah. Obviously, again, we're still back at the activation of 47 core. This roadblock gets removed, and I don't think he even... Yeah, he doesn't roll the dice, but the reason he doesn't roll the dice is, again, he believes the fact that there's no units that can deploy, and no unit, this is First Army now, above that line. First Army units are above this line, so the only unit in First Army is 5th Corps 9th Division, and because his deployment boundaries are way up further north, again, he doesn't think that he's eligible, but with roadblock reserve placement, that hex would still be eligible, even though the unit is his closest unit is from 18 Corps. It would try and find an 18 Corps unit in the reserve units box, but if not, I would try and find a First Army unit, and that 5th Corps unit could have been placed in here. That's what I think should have happened anyway, but however, it is a tricky one. The other thing, you do have to check for out of contact units if there's no options in the reserve units box. Out of contact is, well, we mentioned it a bit before. There's 2 options. I think I said before there was 2 options, and then read out the first one, not the second one. So I'll give you the second one as well. The first one is an Allied unit. Out of contact Allied units. Allied unit is in Allied communication, and no German unit is proximate to the unit, and the removal of the unit would not create a gap. Ooh, a gap. Shudder. Anyway. The second option is that the Allied unit is the lowest numbered unit in a stack with at least 5 steps or 8 strength points. The stack must be an Allied communication. The stack may be adjacent to German units but may not be surrounded. So that's the definition of an out of contact Allied unit. It's probably unlikely that there is any, but I'm not going to go hunting for them if there is. I think it should have come from the reserve units box anyway. So we'll just move on anyway. So he's going to start moving 47th Corps. He says the first try he's going to try and get to Bastogne. And like he says, only roadblocks can stop him. There's no units in the way. So with a bit of luck, some good die rolls, and he might get some victory points. So he moves the 77th Infantry first. So moves on 1712. Okay, where are we? No, he's muddled up with the number again, I think. Yeah, because he says 1712 to 1730, and you think this is the one he would try for first. He's wanting to get into Bastogne. So that can reach. So I'm assuming that should be a 78. So he moves this from here to here. And then there's 2 roadblock checks. One that is connected and one that's not connected. So the 1714 one he rolls a 9, so all good. And the 18-13 one, he rolls a 7, so all good. So he's still got 2 movement points left. So he continues to 18-13. Now this is where he's already checked for this hex, so it's still the same activation, doesn't need to check again. So this is a big one, but it's a 6. So he's got to do a roadblock check and get above a 6, hopefully. So, and then he rolls a 10, so obviously he continues on and to Bastogne and gets this fuel marker as well. So gets the fuel marker, takes Bastogne, 5 victory points, which is great. Puts him up to 14. Does he say what the fuel marker is? No, he gets a no. Yeah, he says yes on a 1 to 5 and he rolls an 8, so no fuel marker for him. I'm hopeful that I've not got these units mixed about, because he did continue saying it was 77 unit. I had them that way. It's possible these should be switched about, but it probably doesn't make any difference. We might find out later on. So next he moves 39 infantry unit from 1810 to 1911. So into Wilts. We'll get a control of that town as well. And then into 2011 in here. Still got the camera down there. Oh, let's move it back a bit before I start losing things. Right, okay. So he's now got 2 checks to make here, roadblock checks. So 2012 he rolls an 8, so all good. And 2011, 2011, I guess is he means 2111. Yeah, because he's in 2011, so must be this one. And he rolls a 5, so no roadblocks there. Yeah, he makes comment here that 1513, this hex is out of communication now, so I'm assuming he's bringing some of these units down. So there's no chance of a blown bridge here, which is really clever to place your units in that way. Because a blown bridge appearing can really screw things up. So if he's tactically done it that way, that's really good. So he moves 243, 1313 to 1412. Is that right? 243. That would be 3 points. So is that correct? 1513, 1514. So 3, I might be just mentioned, doesn't need to take a bow and bridge check because there's no communication. 4, and then ends in 1514. 5. And I think, no, I don't think a check's been done there, is it? Within this activation. Let me see. Yeah, well, there's certainly one here, and 1614. Yeah, he's got 2 robot checks. So he checks here. Unfortunately, rolls a 1. So robot pops up in 1515. And the check in 1614 which might have been more important to him, is a 6, so that's good. So yeah, no, it's roadblock at 15-15. Ooh, right, he's got him moving. Now, I don't think it would matter because he's got him moving down here. And I think he started is it 13-12? He's went 13-12 to 14-12. So that would be 3 points, but he could have went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll assume he's done it that way. And should probably get another German control marker for Hooflays. And okay, and then he activates moves the 78th of the 26. Right. 16-11. Okay, I'm going to assume that I've got these the wrong way about because he's talking about that being the 77th and that being the 78th. I don't think it makes too much difference, but I'll swap them over now so that we're on the same track. So 16-11 to hang on a sec. I've got them in the wrong hex as well. 8, 9, 10. He's showing them in there. I think he maybe has, because that's I don't know what's went wrong there. We'll just put him where he's going. It might have been me that's placed him wrong, so I can't say for sure that I've got them in the right place as well. So he's saying that this guy started here. Again, he's adjacent to this 9th armour unit. I'm just going to go back and have a wee look, see, because he did list where everything was earlier on, see if I can find out the problem here. Yeah, it looks like I must have made some error somewhere. Just try to follow the hex numbers and that, find it tricky. So yeah, he does have them there, 78, and it was 77. I must have got them crossed over, so made a muddle there. So anyway, let's carry on with his movement of this guy. So he goes 16-11 to 16-12. So that's 1. And 16-13, 16-14. So 2, 3. And then 130 where is he? He's here. Just move things along there a bit. So he moves 1, 2, 3. So some big checks here. So he's got roadblock check, and there's a bridge there, so bridge check. So he rolls for 13, 16. What one's that? That's a big one, yeah. So he rolls for 13, 16 and rolls a 10, so all good at La Roche. And rolls a 5 here, so all good. So as long as the bridge doesn't blow, he rolls a 9, so everything rolled good. So 130 layer continues into La Roche. So another 2 victory points. Nicely done. Oh, he's up to 16. And one last check, once he moves into La Roche, there's a robot to check there. And again, the dice go well for him. He rolls a 5. So, all good. Actually, no, I don't think he does actually check for this roadblock. Sorry, my bad, I've read the numbers wrong again. So yeah, he finishes the guy in La Roche, but don't think he checks there, but we'll see. So 902 where, which is, let's not get these guys muddled up this time. That's him. Okay. 1213 to 1214. So 1, 2. There's already been a check done here, so it doesn't need to check that one again. 14, 15, so 11, 16, so he goes up to here, so now there should be a check here. So yeah, he does a check there and rolls a 5, so it's all good. And then he moves into to surround Mane. So yeah, that was 3 movement points, and another 2 into the broken hex there. And nice, he's got this town surrounded now. Oh, nice move. So then, next 3 units just stay where they are. 3 or 4 obviously stays there. He's part of the surround. 2 second Panzer. Is that the guy that's here? Yeah, he's keeping him there as well. And 3 second Panzer. He stays there. It's not really got a great out from there anyway, so. 901 where. So moves to 1910 to 9010. 0910 to 809. Where is he? So 0910 to 809. Ah, okay, right. Yeah. So surrounding that guy. And he says he's going to take a wee chance and attack this hex. So let's work some things out. Okay, so he's going to attack at 8, it's actually 808, but so the odds are 7 to 3. Oh, it's a bit of a risky one this, so it's only 2 to 1. He does have 1 card in his hand. It's not the greatest. The combat tactic is press the attack, which just gives them an extra chip pool. He gets 1, 2, 3 chip pools. So, and the press attack knocks it up to 4. So, and then the Allies, they can't get an undetected defender because unit's surrounded. This is a bit of an ouch for them, I think. They draw card number 7 for a screen, so it's going to reduce the chip pools from 4 to 2, unfortunately. And well, these 2 chip pools he gets A0D1. So let's maybe just go through this. Yeah, okay, so 1 hit on this unit. So the assignment hits, just a quick run through. If the defending unit has already retreated 2 hex and its combat was a step, well, it's not. If hits are greater than or equal to the number of steps, it would retreat. There's only 1 hit and it's got 2 steps. So priority C is if losing a step would cause the defending unit to exert no zone of control from the hex it occupies, and that is the case because a bracketed unit doesn't exert a zone of control unless it's in a town or stacked with another bracketed unit. So it's got to retreat 1 hex, which is great because as the unit's surrounded, it's going to have to move into a zone of control, and when it does that, it'll also lose a step. So its retreat priorities. That's a pretty simple one. There's the town, Malmedy. It's also got the withdrawal arrow as well. So this unit retreats and takes a step loss and ends up in Malmedy. And then 3nd Panzer advances into Hex. As he points out, getting it on the road, which is better for the armour, the mechanised. And that's the end of the Germans' turn. No cards left in their hand, so it's going to be the end of the December 17th after one more Allied Impulse. Okay, so the last card of the day, Allies Impulse, card 18. This is quite interesting. So it's 48 core. Now, the first command is deploy all core reserves, and I still have the 9th Armour unit here, so it's went amiss somewhere, but I've misplaced a few hex numbers and moved the wrong units, so I'm not sure where that unit's went. We might find out. Anyway, so James comes to the conclusion, which this is great. If he's looked at all this, and he's got a great line here, and this guy is actually in a lot of trouble. He's kind of surrounded. He's not surrounded, but he can move. But anyway, he's actually wandering behind enemy lines. Now the conditions for that are, hang on a sec. Yeah, I actually had to look it up to check, because I'm not sure I've been able to get a unit into that position before, but that's good. So the conditions, all of the following have to apply. The unit is out of communication. Well, like I was saying, this guy is, I thought at first he might be able to get up, because communication doesn't care about roads or anything. It can't go through a zone of control though. And I thought maybe he could get up and, hang on, there's the camera, not going up again. Because he could trace through this, but then he can't trace into there or there because zone of control there. So yeah, there's no gap for this unit to get through to trace communication, which is great. The other one is it's not in a town or city, which it's not, and the unit is able to move, so it's not actually surrounded. So it's not in a town, it's not surrounded. I mean, I would have looked for the simple thing to activate the units and say it could build an IP, but actually, that's a better one. Wandering behind the enemy lines. So that's a condition to activate 8th Corps with the 3rd command tier. And because I don't think I've ever done wandering behind enemy lines. It's slightly different. I don't think you draw cards for it. I don't think I've done this before. Hang on a sec, let me get the right things to look at. Yeah, I've definitely not done this before, so this is great. So it's a separate procedure for when the unit's found wandered behind the enemy lines. So you conduct an action for each active non-dispersed unit wandered behind the enemy lines. Well, we've only got that unit. So the first possibility is move the unit into a hex in Allied communication and stop if the unit can reach such a hex in a single move. Well, I've had a look, and because he's got such a tight circle round about this, there's no hex he can reach. There's no gap, so that's not applicable. Second one is move the unit in a west wall hex. Well, that's not applicable. I don't think. One, two, three. No, that's not. Not quite sure why we'd want to go that way anyway. Third one is move the unit in a town or city and stop if it can reach such a hex in a single move. I thought at first, oh, James, you've left tough ways open here, but no, he can't get round. He could move to here, and then the zone of controls either side, so he's got it all covered. So the last option is number 4, so it's a roll of the dice, and a result of 1, move the unit back 1 hex in a rearward direction, if able, and then on a result of 2 to 6, place the unit on the calendar a number of days ahead equal to the die result. The unit has made its way back to US lines and will re-enter play as a reserve unit. On a result of 7 or more, the unit does nothing. So, yeah, I've definitely not done this before. So, he says, based on 10.8, I think 4 applies. I think you're right, James, yes. Need a die roll for wandering. He rolls a 3. So, yeah, it's going to go back in the calendar. So yeah, with a 3, CCB98 escapes and is moved to calendar to return on December the 20th. So this guy comes off and goes back. We're on the 17th, so it's going to come out on the 20th. Wow. So then he continues, and I did wonder about this. I was going to have to look into this, and wasn't sure if the other units in the core could have an activation. I mean, it doesn't say that they shouldn't, so I think you're going to have to draw cards for them. And admittedly, yes, he draws 3 action cards. Right, let's see what he draws, just in case. He says none of them apply, so I'll have a look. Yeah, so there's the 3 action cards that he drew, 15, 17, 20. He only mentions for CCA 9A. He does have this 28th Infantry here as well. I'm pretty sure that's still there. But none of the cards do apply. I know I didn't go through them all before. It's probably better going through them once they can do something. Quickie though, strengthen says unit proximate to but not stacked with allied units with strength. None of these can strengthen each other. The next one is move, unit stacked not adjacent to a supplied German unit. Well, both the units are adjacent to a supplied German unit. And then withdraw under fire, a unit, the situation is a unit surrounded or in danger of surround in a hex with less than 5 hold value. They're not surrounded, but they're not actually in danger of surround either. I lie, this guy is surrounded, isn't he? He is, yeah. This guy's not, he's got in now and nothing can get in to surround him. This can't move because it's in zone of control. But yeah, the 28th is actually surrounded. Proximate or adjacent to a hex in allied communication. Yeah, that's an interesting one because this is pretty good. It's really good, this card for the Allies, because they ignore the first movement they make. They just ignore the German zone of control. A little bit like the Piper card earlier on. So this guy would be able to go, I'm not sure exactly, but he could go here or he could go here and then be in communication. So it does look like this card would apply, but for some reason James seems to miss as 28th Infantry. Either that, or it's been destroyed or something, and I've missed that. But anyway, it concludes that none of the cards are applicable, and that concludes December the 17th. So I'll leave it at that for now. Join this video up to the other one. No, I was going to split them in two, I think. So those should be 2 parts to 17th. And then I think he only plays the 18th, so there's probably only another day to go, so maybe another couple of videos if you want to carry on watching, see what happens. Anyway, I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Cheers.